Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, where today we are actually going to take a look at just how long it takes me to create the content for this channel. So this is a conversation that has sort of been coming up as of late, more on like the periphery of other conversations that have been happening in BookTube. But as of late, two different people that I have seen have made books, or not made books, they've made videos about this very topic. The first being Mara from Books Like Whoa, and the second is Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. And I will leave their videos linked down below if you are curious. But I do think that this is a really interesting conversation to be having, because I think that a lot of people, when they take a look at something that is creative, just in general, not just booktube, but creative in general, it's really hard to understand just how much time goes into it. And I really like the idea of having a conversation about this, because to be honest, like how much time you put into it can vary wildly. And having a conversation about why your times look the way that they do can be extremely helpful for other people, especially those who are looking to do booktube for themselves. And so I decided that I would go ahead and jump in and do my own video and basically add my own data to the set. So I will go ahead and just run through exactly how long each item takes me, and then I will talk a little bit about things that I think, or areas where I think that I am pretty different than other booktubers. So first up, let's talk about ideas and coming up with the ideas for the videos. And honestly, I don't really spend any time on this, mostly because my channel is extremely formulaic. I do reading vlogs, I do reviews, I do my wrap-ups, my TBR, and then there's like one or two videos a month which are not one of those things. And so like the ideas just come to me, I write them down, and I decide whatever I'm feeling like, and that's what I do. So I don't really spend time on this. But what I do spend time on is a lot more time on is the next section. And that's kind of like, I call it ruminating, but that's not quite right. It's basically where I have the idea, but I kind of have to talk to myself and figure out what my actual thoughts are. And I literally do talk to myself. I walk around the house talking to myself, practicing various bits, but basically trying to figure out what my thoughts actually are, what are my points that I want to make, and putting it all together into a cohesive, logical progression that makes sense for a video. Because the reality is my brain does not work in a linear fashion, and sometimes putting my thoughts into words is an absolute trial. So it can take me a while to do this, especially for videos more like this, where it's a discussion, sometimes with reviews, those kinds of things. And so out of the 3 videos I post a week, I do this for probably about 2 of them, and it takes on average maybe 45 minutes a video. I'll talk a little bit about this in the next section of this particular discussion, but like about 45 minutes twice a week. So in total, about an hour and a half a week. And then I do write out a script, which is mostly just bullet points so that I can remember, which is what I'm looking down at. It looks something like this. It's very basic, but it takes me about 15 minutes for about 2 videos out of the 3 each week. So in total, about 30 minutes a week. And then I do rehearse everything. I run through it once or twice. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable with the material to do this, and also generally gives me a heads up as to just how long my video is going to be and if I need to cut it a little bit. But I do this with probably 2 of the 3 videos a week. It takes me 15 to 30 minutes each time for the rehearsal, so maybe about 45 minutes a week. And then I do have to prep up my space because I am currently in my living room, which we use, and so I can't leave everything set up. And so that's like getting this chair that I'm sitting in and setting up my tripod and any lights and all of that kind of stuff. And it takes me between 2 and 5 minutes each time I film. I film about 4 to 6 times a week, dependent. And so we're going to call it about 15 minutes a week. I will note here that the time that I spend on hair and makeup before I sit down is absolutely zero. I don't wear makeup. I don't do my hair. So nothing. And then I do film. I sit down and I film one-shot videos. So basically I hit record, I talk until the very end of the video. I turn off the recording and then I'm done. And it usually takes me once or twice to get it right. And so for the 3 videos that I do, it probably takes somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours total. And so for this tally, we'll go with 2 hours a week. After that, I do create thumbnails for some of my videos, not all of them. Sometimes I just use the ones that YouTube generates for me, which is always just quite exciting because YouTube tends to take like the worst pictures as thumbnails. But when I do make my own, it's probably 1 to 2 videos per week. We're going to go with 2 videos to make it easier. And it takes me probably 5 to 10 minutes each time. So we'll call it about 15 minutes a week. And then comes editing, and I edit on average 2 of the 3 videos a week. So reviews and a lot of the discussion videos, I don't actually need to edit for anything, and so I don't. But the ones that I do, it takes me about 15 minutes to add in, like, put the reading vlogs clips together, add in like the title that says the day of the week, add in any book covers that I need. It takes me about 15 minutes per video. So again, 2 videos a week. So that's 30 minutes total. And then I have the time it takes to add all the links in the description bars. Because I do link all of the books that I talk about. I try to link to any other booktubers that I talk about, reviews, whatever I talk about in the video, I try to make sure isn't down in the description bar. And that takes about 10 minutes per video. So for 3 videos a week, that's 30 minutes. And then comments. So I do try to respond to comments, even as bad as I have been lately. I do try to respond to comments at least twice a week, and it takes me absolutely no more than like 30 minutes. So on the probably overestimate side, it's about an hour a week. So all of that totaled together equals about 7 hours and 15 minutes a week, which is, I think, on the lower side of things for somebody who is doing 3 videos a week. But there is a reason for that. So, for example, because I don't include my reading time in this. So some people do. Some people include their reading time in it, and I don't. And the reason I don't include my reading time is the reading is happening whether I'm on BookTube or not. So I read just this much before BookTube happened. It was just a lot more sporadic throughout the year. So I'd have like months where I would read, 20 books in a month because I just really wanted to read. And then I'd have a month where I read maybe 1 book. And so BookTube has just evened out how much I'm reading each day. But I definitely read this much before, and I will likely read this much if and when I ever decide to quit BookTube. So that's why I don't count it. Like I said, I don't do hair and makeup, which if you are a woman, if you're femme presenting, if you wear makeup, it can take quite a bit. It can take quite a bit of time to do your hair as well. Not uncommon for it to take like an hour. So I do save quite a bit of time with that. And then editing, because I don't edit my talking at all, that definitely cuts down on the time. So like I don't edit my speech, and I don't have any kind of, like, all my videos are me sitting here and talking at the camera. There's there's no B-roll, there's no animation, there's nothing like wild about my videos. And so because I don't do anything wild and because I don't edit my speech, that really does cut down the time that I spend on editing. And the last thing that really cuts down my time in particular is that I don't have the socials that I do or Patreon. So I know a lot of people do, and like especially larger channels do actually do those things. And so if there's a Patreon, you're like creating content for the Patreon. If you have socials like Twitter or Instagram or Book Talk or even just a book blog or posting reviews on Goodreads, that takes quite a bit of time too. And I don't do any of those things. I don't have any, so I'm not active on any socials other than YouTube. And even on Goodreads, I don't post reviews. I don't write reviews for any of the books that I read. So that means I just don't do any of that. And it can add a lot of time to other people's amount of time they spend on their channel. But one of the things that like I did want to mention, just as kind of a side note, is that whole ruminating thing where I talk to myself. And like this one was really difficult for me to figure out how to calculate it. And this is the one thing where I'm the least sure about how much time I actually spend on this. And that's because some videos I don't actually require it at all. Like my TBR requires nothing, right? But videos like this, I've actually, with this video, I was talking to myself about it basically all day. And like, how do you quantify that? And the thing is, and the reason that I ended up at 45 minutes is because that's an average, but also because this is what I do anyway. That's how my brain works. My brain like fixates on something and I have to talk it through. And now it's just that since I started my channel, it's like now fixating on things related to booktube rather than things that make me anxious, which is what happened before. But the reality is, like, after a certain point of doing this, it frequently doesn't make my channel, like the video, any better. It's just my brain has not let go of the idea yet. And so it's like, again, how do you quantify, if I spent 6 hours, but how much of that was good time that was necessary to make this video better? And I really don't know how to quantify that. So I said 45 minutes of video, and I don't know if that is in any way accurate. So I might actually spend more time on this channel than what I'm stating, but it's because of me and how my brain works. So I did just want to kind of point that out as well. But that is it, you guys. I really wanted to do this because, again, like I said, I wanted to add my data to the set, so that you can see that there's a lot of different ways to do things. And especially if you are looking to start YouTube, especially a booktube channel, especially because a lot of times when I see it, people complain about the editing and how long it takes. And it's like, no, you don't actually have to edit if you don't want to. And so just know that there's a lot of different ways to do things, and the end result is that it can affect how much time you're spending on it. So if you don't have much time, that doesn't mean you can't have a booktube channel. So that is it. Leave me comments down below. I would love to hear if you have a booktube channel, if you have a YouTube channel in general, if you do something creative, especially things where people don't really understand just how much stuff goes on behind the scenes. I would love to hear from you. How much time do you spend on doing that thing? Let me know down below, but that is all I have. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.